This is MSR TV6 15 Minutes News. In the headline, 2 banks robbed in matter of weeks. Sandy Ground on the Move president not pleased with summer camp arrangements. Missing girl was not missing after all. These stories with much more details coming up right after this commercial.
MSR Cable TV, simply the best.
For the second time in a matter of weeks, 2 banks have been robbed in the Cold Bay Simpson Bay area. The Bank of Nova Scotia was robbed on June 11th, and now First Caribbean Bank was robbed on July 8th. Both were brazen daylight robberies which occurred around 10 a.m. in the morning. Uniformed police, detective, and Coast Guard responded to the robbery, with Coast Guard approaching the bank from the lagoon side of the scene. Here is the story from MSR Investigation. MSR live here on the spot again, right here in the Simpson Bay area, yet another early morning bank robbery. It was reported here we are at the First Caribbean Bank, where a robbery took place this morning. Broad daylight, the security guard was reportedly held up and everybody in the bank was robbed. Here we have Ricardo Henson, police spokesperson, to elaborate more on the details of the robbery.
We have to confirm that it's unfortunate, but yes, it was about minutes after 10 or just before 10 o'clock when the information came in that at least 3 quite heavily armed men went into the First Caribbean Bank in the Cold Bay area, as you're going towards the border in Cold Bay. And these men neutralized or held up the security guard and all those that were in the building and robbed the bank. And after robbing the bank, 3 of them fled. So as we speak, there is an investigation going on in the area. The detectives of their forensic department are there. They are gathering clues, they are gathering evidence. We have some, and we hope that we would be able to solve this within short. So we are asking the general public who may have seen or know anything in regards to this robbery to please call us at the police department. You can call the 911 line. We have the 9300, that's the tip line, and you can call the police station directly and give this information. It's because this information can be definitely valuable to the investigation. So we are looking forward for information and assistance from the general public.
Mr. Ricardo, it seems as now the bank robberies are on the rise again in the early morning. What is the police plan of action? Well,
we have a plan of action. We are busy executing it, but unfortunately, we were not in place at that time. So we hope we will continue with our plan of action. It's something that, as you can see, we were busy during this last week, and we intend to continue it. We have different plans put together of approach, how we are going to deal with this, the increase in break-ins and stuff and robberies and so on. So just look forward to a change, to a suppression of these type of illegal activities.
President of Sandy Ground on the Move Association, Mr. George Richardson, better known as Beige, is not too pleased in what the collectivity and settlers is doing where the summer camp program is concerned. According to Richardson, although he has dropped the price of the summer camp, which is an annual event, no one till date has signed up. Here is Mr. Richardson, president of Sandy Ground on the Move, as he expressed himself.
The reason why that we have decided to call you here this morning because we honestly believe that adjustments need us to make in order for us to touch the parents and children of this community. Of course, this district is a district that has been suffering for years because of neglection. Sandy Ground on the Move Consortium came in place so that now we can eradicate that problem by making sure that now we can help the people of this country find their proper footing going forward. Putting summer camp in places to help the children is very expensive. But of course, because of the people do not have the means, employment here in this country, becomes gold dust. And since the people of this country, of this village, has been always left behind, this year the price that we charge, they cannot meet that requirement. So it is important that if we really wanted to help the children and people of this country, that we revisit the price and to see how we can bring it back down. Of course, we're going to be at a loss, but it is better for us to lose money than to have our kids out there on the street running haywire and not having the proper responsibility of taking care of them. As human beings, we strongly believe that the motto of Sanagwang and the Move Insertion is to do our utmost best in making sure that we can have our children qualified to take the full responsibility come tomorrow when we will pass on that baton to them. I am a little bit upset with the setters because I reached the conclusion that we seem to be having competition from within. Now, the associations has a responsibility and making sure not only to cut grass, but to also make sure that we can move the identity of this country forward. Moving the identity of this country forward is to also preparing the young people for tomorrow, the future, going forward, not only the present. The present depends upon the past. And in order to get into the future, we need us to take examples of what has been keeping us back behind in order for us to do better tomorrow so that now we can all realize the future. The setters' prices are completely different to ours. But you see, but somewhere along the line, I believe that a proper planning, if not this year again, should be put in place come next year, God spare life.
So have this thing.
When you look at, we have decided yesterday together to look to see how we can bring down the price to say, let's say, 45 euros. But then, would we get the children today when they're done already registered other places? This is the question.
So if Prime Minister Sarah Westcott Williams on Friday commented on the recent developments regarding completion and use of the new government administration building. During her weekly radio program, One-on-One with the Prime Minister, she gave clarification on the recent handing over of the government administration building and her instructions to establish task force to ensure that government departments can move into new building as smoothly as possible. Indeed, what a saga that has been over the years since the first agreement, which was signed with the developer RJM in 2003, there have been many issues that had to be clarified and addressed. Because again, in a political year and with election being so close, many are using the government building as part of their politicking tactics. The understanding at the time was that the shell of the building would be built by RGM and remain in the possession of RGM with government renting the building. After several amendments to the original development agreement, the building was started. However, in June of 2009, the then government issued a building stop on the government building. Of course, in 2010, we had a brand new government of Country St. Martin and a lease agreement was being explored which would be signed. However, several matters soon surfaced, specifically with regards to disagreements between RGM and government, amongst which in ensuring of the building, which resulted in numerous court cases. This week, we are able to pay RGM, which was owed to them, and we received the deed so that the government can now continue with the finishing of the building and the moving in of the civil service. Fortunately, we have the issues behind us and have resolved the dilemmas that we have to face, and we can now move forward, Sarah said. I have therefore instructed that a task force be established to ensure that we move into the government building as soon as possible. This will be humongous undertaking to get government moved into the new building, and we need to ensure that the process to move into the building happens smoothly and quickly, and I look forward to seeing this completed within comfortable time frame, commented Prime Minister Sarah Westcott Williams. On Saturday, July 5th, at approximately 7:45 p.m., information reached the Police Central Dispatch informing them that shortly before, an armed robbery had taken place at the Chinese supermarket in Marigot on the French side of the island, and that the suspects in question fled the scene in a gray-colored vehicle heading towards the Dutch side.
After 7 o'clock, the Central Dispatch received a call stating that some men had committed a robbery at the Chinese supermarket on the French side, and that these men had fled the scene in a gray-colored car towards the Dutch side. So what we did, we automatically or immediately informed our patrols of about the incident, and we told them to have a lookout for the gray-colored car, small gray-colored car in which the possible suspects were driving. And we later learned that 4 men were driving in a gray-colored car in the Simpson Bay area, and they had stepped into or gone into a house, and shortly after 3 men were found at that house, and 1 man was stopped in the car. And during the search of the car, an amount of money was found, some drugs was found, phone cards were found, machetes were found, but we could not say directly that these were the person, but 2 of the men fitted the description. So we arrested all 4 in connection as suspects in this case, and they were brought to the detective department for questioning. So that we hope that within short we would have some positive information that will indicate that whether these persons definitely were involved in this robbery or not. So the investigation is on, and we hope that within short that we would have some information in regard to that.
The police department, as of July 8, called off the search for the missing Charani Ropnani, aka Sharika.
We are very glad that the young lady, that is Miss Tajreen Lapnareen, or Sharita. Her name is really Sharika. That's her nickname, Sharika. She contacted the detective this morning via phone call, stating that she's not missing and that she's staying with a friend. She left her home on her own, and she stated that she wants to make her own choices. Her family members have been in contact with. She's in very good health, and she's coming in to see the detectives today, and she would give them a full statement to what the reason is that she left her home. So she's fine, she's not missing, and we are very glad for that. So we are going to just stop the search for her. We want the people to know that the search is off and that the young lady is fine.
Minister of Public Housing, Spatial Planning, Environment and Infrastructure, Ministry of Rami, Honorable Maurice Lake, on Wednesday evening during the Ebony Steel Orchestra Pan recital at the Port de Plaisance, surprised Isidore York in the presence of parents and steel pan youth players documents for the allocation of government land in the district of Sucker Garden for a steel pan school. Isidore York, better known as the Mighty Dow from Dow Festival Foundation, submitted twice an application for domain land. The first application was in 2006 and the second application was in 2009. The domain land is 1,450 square meters and is near the Lions Club Community Center in Sucker Garden. The Mighty Dow indicated at the pan recital that he has over 750 youngsters learning the steel pan. It was a great honor for me to be able to once again help a local dedicated person such as Isidore York to make his dream and the dreams of the country youths come true. The Mighty Dow has dedicated his life to educating the young generation about the steel pan, which is part of the heritage and culture.